Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to SeahawkTalk here on the Salve Athletics Network. I am your host, Andrew Pizzelli, coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. We are live every single day from 3 to 4 p.m. And looking around out this week, we will have special guests Clay Brochu, Zach Klon, Molly O'Sullivan, an alumnus from our women's ice hockey team, and we'll round out the day with Corrine Hughes, the head coach of our women's basketball team. Can't wait to talk to them and our producers, but first, like always, we want to remind you to keep your distance. That is Ed Habershaw with his rendition of Keep Your Distance by the Shake, Rhode Island-based band. Worldwide message that we can apply from that song. Social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing. We've heard all about it for long enough now, but we're going to continue to remind everybody to do those simple and easy things, especially with cases on the rise throughout most of the country. I want to bring in the producers now of the show. Woo. Long week. Joey Morelli, Mike DeFusco. Welcome to the program. While I reorganize my brain here, just had a bit of a lapse there for a moment in consciousness. Anyways, fellas, what do we have here to start off the program today?
Joey, if you want to go ahead and jump in first, you got it.
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen. Here it is. Okay, so on Newport Daily News today, one of the top stories for today is this. I feel like every time I'm always like a really good profile piece, and they've just been having really good profile pieces. I don't know, man. It's about this guy Kenneth Blaine, who it's basically a story about he's about to open a store on Broadway, and it must be like a surprise what the name is, because I thought maybe I was missing what the name of it was, but it is certainly like a surprise. And he also started a charity for like community service type of things, because he, up until 10 years ago, he was homeless, and then he just happened to paint something, and someone bought it for $200, and he was able to use that money to kickstart his getting back on his feet, and now he's about to open a store near the tavern on Broadway, and it's a really good article about his past and how he ended up homeless and how he ended up where he is today, and I think it's a really good read, and it's really empowering story. It's inspirational, basically, to read this kind of thing about how he didn't give up, and he was able to make something amazing now. So I definitely, if you can, go to Newport Daily News and read it. It's it's the first story when you open it. It's the big, I guess it would be the headline front page article in a newspaper, but definitely go check it out.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. If I can jump in quick here before we get to what I think is the best story, just a quick little blurb. You can go ahead and nominate your favorite local business for the Rhode Island Business of the Year Award. Nominations are due by December 10th. However, you can go send in any store, from a restaurant to a retail store to a mechanic shop. So if you have any businesses that you believe are in need of recognition and deserve recognition, go ahead and send your nominations in to the Newport Patch, and they'll be featuring a new business every month or in the months November to December. So go ahead and check that out. That's at the Newport Patch.
Cool. I want to try and find. I lost it here, so hold on.
Oh no.
Oh, I gotta find. So, the tree Rockefeller Plaza normally has,
The tree.
oh boy, a Christmas tree.
Fuck yeah.
People, you see it in movies, you see it on TV. People go. It's this big scene. Now, obviously, I'm sure we're all trying to not have large social gatherings. And maybe that's why New York did this. Maybe that's why they got this tree, because this will encourage social distancing by dissuading people to come and gather. Because I don't know anybody that wants to go take an Instagram picture in front of that tree. I don't know. I don't know if it was planned. I don't know. It's the most. It's just another. It makes 2020. If there's going to be a profile pic for 2020, this is it.
No, hold on. I wanna push back on that statement because it's not fair that the Rockefeller tree is getting people are making fun of it for this, because there was a tree a couple days ago that was way worse. I don't remember where it was, but it was like another like big Rockefeller tree-esque, like everybody knew it, and it like fell apart, and everyone was like, "That's 2020."
Yeah,
I feel like the Rockefeller tree is getting an unfair shake here. It's not the only tree.
No, I think that tree got too much shake, Joey. I think somebody shook that tree a little too much. Sure. I don't know what they plan to do. I don't know if they're just going to say, hey, let's maybe go halfway up and we'll just trim. This tree will just be significant. It's like what you do with the Christmas tree when you go buy one, you and me. Like, hey, this tree's kind of bare on this side. We'll trim that up about a couple feet. How about that?
No, you just turn it around. That's the part that faces the wall.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, put it flush against the skyscraper. That's unfortunately the tree it seems like New York City is stuck with. The flip side of that is Boston today is also getting their Christmas tree. And for those that don't know, there's a really, really great story behind the tree that is in the Boston Common every year. So back in 1917, there was an explosion. At the time, it was the largest man-made explosion up in Halifax.
In the world?
Yes, man-made explosion. 1917. This is pre-nuclear weapons.
This isn't like the video of the whale you showed us blowing up in the Oregon beach.
So it was a massive explosion in Halifax. And Boston heard about this over telegraph. And so they dispatched a train with medical aid, food, supplies, because it destroyed most of the town. So Boston was one of the first people to respond, and a train went through a blizzard to get up to Halifax. It was December 6th to try and get up there to help out the town, distributing food, water, medical supplies. And Boston was like one of the first places to respond to this crisis. And so Nova Scotia, kind of feeling in debt, the following year, they sent Boston a Christmas tree, and have sent Boston a Christmas tree ever since. So the tree that is in the Boston Common every year comes from Nova Scotia. They have a big ceremony up there. They bless the tree. They do all sorts of stuff, and it's basically like paraded down the East Coast to the Boston Common. So
that's pretty cool.
I didn't know that.
Little fun fact. I'm full of random information like that. So I guess maybe what we can glean is that while Halifax sends Boston a Christmas tree because they helped the explosion, New York City got a Christmas tree that looked like it was in an explosion. So that's the tie-in.
Oh, that's great. I got a quick video if you guys want to see. I think this is the Rockefeller one going up, and it's quite funny. I think I'm not going to share the audio for it right now, but in the background, it's "Oh Christmas Tree," that song, if you ever heard of it. You can just see the overall destruction of the tree right here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so not the best execution. I think that had something to do with it as well.
Oh, jeez. I looked for the video where I saw it. The other tree was in Cincinnati. Was the one that like fell apart. I don't have the video.
Okay.
Well, I can't play it. No, I can't play it.
Okay.
Again,
well, you know what, Detective Morelli, I'm sure you can find
language.
it. Oh, okay. Well, maybe you can find a way to get one that is
maybe
fit for a family program's consumption. So go ahead, and I'll let you get to work on that, Detective Morelli, and you guys can get to work producing the show, and we'll move along to our first guest.
All right, we'll see you guys at the end.
All right, that's Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. We're going to go to our first guest now, a member of our men's basketball team, Clay Brochu. Clay, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing pretty well. How you doing?
Good. I want to start first. I know you have a lot of family connections to Salve. Your brother, your father played here. So I'll ask you, what made you choose Salve? Is it as simple as, hey, it was destined, I had to come here, or were there any other factors for you in deciding to come to Salve Regina?
So I was pressured by my dad a little because my older brother went here, he went there. So I was like kind of keeping the family tradition. And then the basketball tradition, like the two above me have also played here. So I feel like playing here is honestly an honor. And then also the recruitment style, the upperclassmen have just been super good to me. So they kind of lean me towards the Salve Regina too as well. So that's really what led me to Salve, but it's also just a family tradition to go in here.
Yeah. What does it mean to know that you're going to at least get a year? Who knows? People decide to stay an extra year. This whole situation is crazy. But what does it mean to at least know you're going to have a year to been at college, practice, hopefully play games with your brother?
Yeah, that's so I was a freshman in high school. I was on the JV team and he was on the varsity team, and we kind of played together, but not really as much as I'm doing this year. It's cool. I've never really played with him before, but he's teaching me a lot. He's teaching me about the system. He's teaching me how the way the coach coaches and stuff like that. So it's a big help. But I feel like if it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't have ended up here or my dad going here. But going here, I've loved it here so far, so I don't regret it at all.
Mm-hmm. What has it been like adjusting to college life as an athlete, just to be a college student for the first time amidst this pandemic? Is it kind of a situation we've heard some people say, I don't know what I don't know. So I don't know what it would have been like for last year's freshman, but I'm sure it's still been challenging nonetheless.
Yeah, this year the workload has been not as much as high school, but it's still hard. And then trying to incorporate athletics and stuff like that, you just have to have like a time management. You have to be able to have a period of time where you get academics done, and then focus on sports and lifting, playing basketball. So there's like 4 guys that I mainly lift with, and then we all have a schedule, base our schedule, and we have to base our lift off of that, and then we have to go to class, and then we have practice. So we all just talk and keep in touch and try to lift when we can, do academics.
Mm-hmm. Do you lean heavily on Big Bro, or is there anybody else on the team that has helped you, throughout this process?
Yeah, so class-wise, I lean on my bigger brother because he knows a lot about like the teachers and stuff like that. So I ask him a lot about that. And then on the court, we don't really play the same position, so I rely on like Kevin Kelly, Drew Richards. They kind of are in the same position, so I rely on them a lot on the court.
Yeah. How would you describe yourself as a player?
So I'm more of like a shooter, and then a pass first type of guard. I broke my school record at the high school for most points, so that's something I have in my bag. But I would say I'm mostly a shooter. So
Yeah. Speaking of shooters, I see the Boston Celtics banner hanging behind you.
Yeah.
I've got my Paul Pierce jersey right here.
I like that.
Big week for NBA fans. Do you have any thoughts on what the Celtics did in the draft, acquiring a shooter in Aaron Nesmith?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought Danny Ainge was going to make a couple moves, try to move up and get James Wiseman, but I'm satisfied with what he did. I feel like we're going to get like a big signing in the free agency and stuff like that. But I like our team. I love Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. They're just 2 superstars that are going to make that team so much better. So our future is bright with the Celtics.
Yeah, a lot of people expect Tatum to sign that max extension as soon as the clock strikes 6 p.m. No doubt there. A lot of uncertainty, too, with Gordon Hayward. He could be gone today as well. For you guys, for Salve, if and when this team takes the court, how special do you think this team can be this year?
I feel like we can be very good. I've been watching them ever since the upperclassmen were freshmen. So that's when Thor was a freshman. And now they're seniors, so they know exactly what it takes to win. And we have our superstar Mikey Spencer, which is a junior, and he just adds a lot to the senior class. So if we end up playing this year, we'd really have a good chance of winning it all. And I feel like the way we're practicing, we have the potential right now to be a very top team. But we still have a long way to go. But I feel like if we do end up playing, we're going to be in the end run.
Yeah. I was just going to say, lastly, what's the message been from, say, the upperclassmen or the coaches about approaching this situation? It's a big unknown. Everybody wants to just skip ahead to when all the fun stuff happens. But what's the message been about staying in the present?
So Coach Foster, he's just saying, just keep your heads up. Just think that we're going to have a season and practice like we're going to have a season. And same thing with the upperclassmen. They're just trying to keep pushing harder and harder every day, saying that we're going to have a season. And if we don't have a season, everybody gets an extra year. So we're just using this as like a kind of a off-season practice time. And then when we come back and we know that we either have a season or not, that's when we were really going to turn up the practices and stuff like that. But right now we're just focused on skills and then like getting the team chemistry down right now, which was huge for the long run.
Awesome. Clay, I want to thank you so much for taking the time, for coming on and joining us here today. Good luck with the rest of the semester. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving, and hopefully we'll be seeing you on a court next spring.
Thank you so much. You as well.
All right, take it easy now. That's Clay Brochu from our men's basketball team. We're going to take a short break and be back with Zach Klon from our men's ice hockey team. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, my name is Cam Collins. I'm a senior here on the South Virginia men's basketball team. In the past 4 years, we have seen tremendous growth in our program as our team continues to work on our goals of being better students, athletes, and members of our community. We are hoping to reach our destination of the NCAA tournament again this year. Together as a group, we have adapted to all the changes that COVID-19 has brought us. We have been working hard in the classroom, in the community, in the weight room, and on the practice floor to have a successful 2021 season.
We need you, our alumni, family, and friends to help us raise money to purchase team gear, special meals, and help offset other costs that come up during the season.
Please make a gift today to help South Virginia men's basketball team succeed through adversity. Thank you, and go Seahawks.
All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We're going to go now to the head coach of our men's ice hockey team, Zach Klon. Zach, welcome to the show. There we go.
Hey,
Zach, how you doing?
How are you doing? Doing very well. How are you?
Good. I wanted to start first. Your freshman class, I feel like it's one of those topsy-turvy years. You know, there's so much unknown, especially you have a lot of international guys coming from Canada. So there's been probably some struggles for them as far as first getting here, and then there's going to be the struggle of getting home, coming back. For them, it's going to be a lot of upheaval. Do you think in the end, though, that after this season, when things get to normal, and whether it's this year, next year, down the road, this class is going to have been through so much and will basically be ready for anything? You know, they'll be mentally tough for life, so they'll be mentally tough and ready for hockey.
They I look at it this way. They, as a class, they've already been through something, some adversity, to bring them closer together. And that's, what we've preached a little bit just with the entire team is that, it's a little bit of an uphill, road right now. And we're going through some adversity, but, the way it's going to bring us together and how close we'll be at the end of this, there shouldn't be anything else like it. So that we try to take a negative and have a little bit of a positive here and, make it something that the guys are learning through as well.
Yeah. With this year and the uncertainty, and there's having to pod and break up practices, and there's so many moving parts all over the place. How much have you leaned on your assistants so far, and how important are they going to be to you and the team's success this season?
A huge success. I mean, part of it. You need the help. You need the different set of eyes. Someone that looks at the game a different way as well. So Chris has been a huge help, not only with the recruiting side of it. Many hours on the phone, calling, but a lot of guys have questions right now, and for him to be able to reach out to different players and to be another ear as well, it goes a long way. So. The help of your assistant coach, it's you can't put a price tag on it. And Chris does a great job, and he has he's done a lot. So it's always nice to have him.
Yeah. You mentioned recruiting. How is the recruiting process going? Obviously, again, there's 8 million variables into everything, but how has the recruiting process gone so far?
Once after last year, I didn't think I think we'd be ready for anything. But it's a little bit of the Wild West of some junior teams are playing, some are on a pause right now. So we try to catch as many games as we can. Hockey TV is a great tool that we use. You can watch any junior game within North America. So for us, we're able to watch games and then contact players and continue to try to the recruiting process here. But like you said, there's a lot of unknowns and a lot of guys that we're tracking aren't playing right now. So, it's just get on the phone and start hitting them again. So It's been good.
Everybody's probably in a different situation, but because of some of the restrictions for travel, some people playing, some people not, it's going to be easier, hypothetically, to scout guys locally. If, say, you're in a place where teams are playing because it's a high school or, prep schools that are still playing locally, maybe not so juniors who might be traveling all over the place and not getting their leagues able to play. Do you think there'll be more opportunities for guys to get recruited locally to local colleges other than, maybe, hey, I play out in North Dakota. Normally, maybe there'd be some showcase. People come from all over. I get a chance to come out east or go west. Now, maybe there'll be more players who maybe get lost or under the radar who play in local high schools and things, which might be the only game in town for coaches to go out and scout.
It is. There's definitely kind of a mix-up right now. There's players that were supposed to be playing in certain leagues. The leagues aren't playing, so now they found themselves, on a different team than they expected at the start of the year. So it's mainly just using the board and putting the names up and making sure that we track them, each and every week and know where they're playing and just how they're doing. But no, you've seen kind of across the board here, just a spread of the talent. Usually it's in certain leagues, and right now that there's kids everywhere right now playing. So it's been exciting to see. You see some jerseys that you're not really used to seeing, in the recruiting process. But it's been interesting. But I think we have our hand on it.
Yeah. Kind of some fun questions now. Barstool Sports put out this week a question. They asked, "What's the coldest hockey rink anyone's ever been in?" I answered right away because I know the answer, and there's only one answer, and that is the Portsmouth Abbey. That is by far, from my experience, the coldest rink I've ever been in, and I'd be willing to bet there aren't many that are colder. Unless, I'm sure you've been in more rinks than me. What would you say is the coldest rink you've ever been in?
That's
and I think
question.
the Abbey prides itself on being cold. I look at it like, hey, yeah, you're coming to play Salvi. You're coming to the coldest rink in town, baby. Better be ready for it. No hot water either. Cold showers for everybody.
I would say, the Abbey's pretty cold. I would say the coldest one I've been in, where I played your prep school at the Hill School down right outside Philadelphia. It was an outside rink. It had two kind of sides to it, but the wind would whip through there pretty good. I would say, I think that's the only time I ever wore a turtleneck while playing. So I'd have to say the Hill School, their old outdoor rink there.
Wow, so that kind of leads into my last question. We've had this bad weather game discussion, and generally in hockey that doesn't apply. You're playing inside, except if you're at the Hill School. So what would you say aside from if there was a game where it was snowing sideways into that rink? I'd assume maybe the worst weather you'd ever been in would be traveling, like as a junior, like on a bus going through a blizzard somewhere. So I guess what's the worst weather you ever played in, and or I guess we're traveling through to a game or from?
I spent about 6 hours on a bus broken down in Iowa. When I was playing USHL, we broke down. It was the middle of winter. It got very cold very quickly on the bus until we could get another bus to come get us. So we spent about 6 hours on the bus, and through it was in the middle of the night. It was pretty cold, but I laugh about it still with a couple guys I talked to. That was a funny evening, we could say.
But now, was that like flat grass Iowa or corn broken down next to a cornfield Iowa?
No lie, it was right in a cornfield. We were traveling back to Sioux City, and I remember it was a 2-lane road. It was very flat. So yeah, I will never forget that experience.
Now I'm guessing not no cell phones. So what did guys do for fun here to just to pass the time? Sing songs on the bus, wheels on the bus, don't go round and round.
Everybody got a little time to be a comedian, that night. So we passed the time.
Yeah. Zach, actually, last thing. Thanksgiving's coming up. We won't speak to you guys. There'll be no show on Thursday or Friday, so we'll miss you next week. But what are your plans for Thanksgiving? Everybody's kind of just hunkering down, but what are your plans for the family for Thanksgiving?
We're gonna hunker down. We'll cook a turkey and all the fun stuff. My wife is gonna cook a couple pies, and we'll try to enjoy the most normal Thanksgiving that we can in this time. So I think there's going to be some Zoom calls with some family members, and just trying to relax and put the feet up and have some good family time. So looking forward to Thursday.
Yeah. The best thing I found about the Zoom family call, which we did with my family is in Easter, as opposed to in real life, when somebody gets out of control, hey, guess what? Mute.
That's it. All you have to say is you have an internet problem.
Yeah. Oh, sorry guys. Oops. Can't see you. Oh, don't know what happened. Anyway, Zach, great to see you. We'll talk to you again in 2 weeks, and stay healthy and happy and safe until then.
Perfect. Hey, thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and enjoy yourself, Andrew. Talk soon.
Thank you. Bye, Zach.
Right.
That is Zach Klon, the head coach of our men's ice hockey team. We're going to take a very short break and be back with Molly O'Sullivan from our women's ice hockey team. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, Dylan Krabia here from Salve Men's Ice Hockey. I'm a senior captain. Just wanted to thank you guys in the past for all the previous contributions you've made and here in the future. We've been working hard at Salve ever since we got here in September, wearing our masks, staying safe, and practicing all protocols necessary to get our season going in January. We hope to see you out there. Go Seahawks.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We're going to go now to an alumnus from our women's ice hockey team, a graduate of 2016, Molly O'Sullivan. Welcome to the show, Molly. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm like looking at the years. I'm like, yeah, she just graduated. Like, oh my gosh, time flies.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, how have you been in that time? And thinking back, it must feel like it was just yesterday. But what stands out most to you from your Salve experience?
Yeah, I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I just graduated. I loved my time at Salve. From the community and just how small the school is, that was something that was really important to me, and the people that I met and the relationships that I built. And then obviously being part of the women's hockey team, it meant a lot, and I try and go back as much as I can. Sometimes I can make it back for the alumni game, but I work a lot, so I try though.
Yeah. What specifically, maybe from your time on the women's ice hockey team, stands out to you?
Yeah, I think just the bonds you build. I mean, playing a college sport is a lot, and you go through a lot with your teammates. So, I mean, they're a second family. I'm still close with a good group of them. But you learn how to, be a teammate, be a part of a team, be a leader when your time comes. And it teaches you a lot, and it definitely helps with the work that I do now. So it was awesome.
Yeah. You were involved, you helped organize epilepsy awareness games while you were at Salve. Talk about that and any involvement still with that cause?
Yeah, so I was a little bit once I left Salve, but adulting is hard and working full time is hard. But I still am close with that organization and try and help as much as I can.
Mm-hmm. Back then, all those years ago, what led you to choose Salve Regina?
Yeah, so I think just the community I felt when I visited campus and how small it was. So I graduated from a pretty small boarding school, and I was afraid that when I'd go to college, I would kind of just become a number and get lost a little bit. And that is not the case at Salve. I feel like everybody from academics, athletics, the support staff is so awesome and nurturing, and they know who you are, which I think is hard to get at a college. Yeah. I actually, Salve wasn't really on my list list. My mom actually dragged me to campus and was like, "You're going to go practice talking to a college coach and see, your first college." And I fell in love as I was driving over that bridge. It's an awesome, awesome location. But then once you get on campus and you meet the people, and I met with the coach and the team, it just felt like home, and I loved it. And Newport's just a plus. I mean, It's a great place to live.
Now, I've been through an experience like that where a parent drags me somewhere to something that I was against, and then I loved it. Now, did you admit in the car ride home, "Listen, Ma, you were right,"
Yes.
or did you try and play that one tight to the vest for a little while?
No, I fessed up. She knew I didn't want to go, and my mom actually grew up going to Newport a lot, so she was like, "I know you're gonna love it." And she was right. And she'll bring it up every now and again. I get a lot of crap from that for that still from her. But yeah, best decision I ever made.
So I was gonna say, safe to say you would make the exact same choice again, right? If given the choice.
I would, yeah, definitely. It was the perfect fit for me. And, I work in education now. So it's what I tell kids is find the right college for you. And it could be a big school. It could be a small school. It could be all location or all athletics. But luckily for me, it had everything. It checked all of the boxes. But it's all about the right fit, and it worked out.
Yeah, a lot of people who come through Salve's doors, whether you work here, played here, or a student, talked about the Salve family.
Yeah.
Who are you still in touch with? Who are you still close with from your Salve family?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I feel like, most of the hockey team, throughout my 4 years, there's a lot of girls, obviously. But Taylor Shepard, Meredith Pepis, Danielle Fallon, and then Michaela Ciccarello and Sarah Markey were kind of a good group. And shout out to them. Chicky and Markey are frontline workers. So Markey's a nurse and Michaela's a PA. So they're working in the hospitals and helping us navigate and taking care of us during this crazy time. So they deserve all the credit in the world. And I'm in Connecticut and they're in Boston. So it's hard to see each other right now, but we do Zoom every once in a while, and we're constantly texting. So it's good. And again, they're friends I'll have for a lifetime.
Yeah. So what has Molly O'Sullivan been up to for the last 4 years? What are you doing now?
Yeah, so I work at a boarding school in New Milford, Connecticut. I'm an assistant director of admissions at Canterbury School. I'm an assistant hockey coach, so I'm still in the hockey world.
Nice.
Love it, yeah. And I live in a dorm. I'm a dorm parent, and I'm also an advisor. So I'm going my 3rd year here at Canterbury. Prior to Canterbury, I was working at a boarding school in New Jersey where I was teaching. I didn't love teaching. I knew I wanted to get into admissions. So I found a home here in Connecticut. And then, I'm engaged and living with Peter Gintoli, my fiance, who I know you know quite well.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're excited. And he works in the area and coaches hockey as well. And we're getting married in September in Newport, our favorite place.
Yeah. I'll say fingers crossed. I feel like it's going to be the crazy. I have plenty of friends who got engaged like in January. They were planning things for the fall, and they're like, "Oh, crud, what do we do?"
Yeah.
But it'll come for everybody. I feel like I have a lot of friends who some of them went and did the like courthouse thing just so they could be married, and they're like, "We'll have the giant 200-person party in a couple of years. Don't worry, everybody."
Yeah,
it's gonna be hectic.
It's a crazy time, and right now it's a day at a time, and we're enjoying being engaged, and whatever happens, but hopefully it will, whether it's big or whether it's small, it's going to be in Newport because it means so much to us, and hopefully we'll get some photos on the campus as well.
I was going to say, you looking at doing it at Ochre Court? They might give you a discount.
Yes, so we did look into it, and we actually are going with the Newport Beach House, so closer to St. George's where the women's hockey team plays, right on the beach there. But we've already planned out where we're going to be taking photos at Salve, and Miley Dorm may make an appearance where we both lived our freshman year. I don't know. It looks probably the same. But probably a few upgrades. But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. Just want to go back lastly real quick. You talk about, you're working in academics/athletics. Mm-hmm. What do you like most about that? A lot of people talk about, and it sounds kind of cheesy. Matt Hurd talked about this earlier in the week. He was like, it sounds cliche, but it keeps me young to be around the kids. Do you like that? Do you find it alert to be working with the kids and their passion and energy?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely keeps you on your toes. You're never doing the same thing every day, especially living in a dorm and coaching. In admissions, I'm getting to meet kids and interact with families from all around the world, which is pretty awesome. And so I really enjoy that piece of it. And in a non-COVID world, I'm traveling a lot, so that's fun. But yeah, I agree with Matt. It keeps you young, although I feel at times it does age me also. But yeah, I like that it's not the same thing every day. It's exciting, and right now the kids are heading home for break, so it's going to be quiet on the campus, which a nice little refresh. But always exciting when the kids come back, and they're just excited to be here. And with hockey season starting up, hopefully we'll get a couple of games in. Yes, it'll be good to have the kids here. Yeah.
Awesome. Molly, thank you so much for taking the time today. Congratulations again on your engagement. Say hi to Peter for me, and wish you guys well. And yeah, hopefully you guys are having games soon, and maybe we'll see you at a Salve game again soon as well.
You sure will. Awesome. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. That's Molly O'Sullivan, an alumnus from our women's ice hockey team. We're going to take a short break and be back with Corey Hughes from our women's basketball team to wrap up this week's programming. Don't go anywhere.
Hi everyone, my name is David Lunt, head coach women's ice hockey.
I'm Sydney LaPointe, I'm a senior and a forward.
I'm Paige Stapleton, senior defenseman.
I'm Carly Bach, I'm a senior forward.
In the time of COVID, we're doing the best to adapt to the situations. Through adversity builds character, and luckily I've been surrounded by a group of character here in our senior class.
So all donations will go to traveling needs and food.
Also apparel and gear.
We would like to thank our family, friends, alumni for your support. We would greatly appreciate any donations you have for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Morgan Shuey.
Hi, I'm Meg Hennigan. This year has certainly been unique and challenging for all of us. As members of the Salve women's basketball team, there's been some big changes for us as we adapt and adjust amid this pandemic.
And while the season is not what we had hoped for, we are still grateful to have the opportunity to be here together and to be safe.
Every day we are working hard to prepare for this upcoming season. We are excited to be back on the floor and eager to begin our competition in the new year. And whether it be in person or afar, we can't wait for our loyal Seahawk fans to watch us play once again.
With all of the restrictions due to COVID-19, your support of our program is more important now than ever before. Please consider giving a gift to your Salve women's basketball team or to Seahawk Athletics. Help give us the opportunity to come out of this pandemic faster, stronger, and better than ever before. Again, I'm Morgan.
I'm Meg.
And go Seahawks!
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We're going to go now to the head coach of our women's basketball team, Corey Hughes, to round out today's programming. Corey, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Two athletes right there. Great. They could be good salespeople, right? I mean, that was easy. I don't know how many takes it took, but I imagine not many.
Yeah, I that's why they were chosen for the job. I knew they'd be good at
it. Does that go into recruiting? Do you recruit good salespeople? Like, hey, I'm going to recruit kids that I know can sell the program.
The program sells itself.
Ah, yes.
There you go.
Awesome. You guys as a team have been, and we've talked a lot about all the involvement you've done and the approach you've taken to this season, fall, situation, everything, about trying to find the flip sides. What's the other side of the coin, the silver lining, so to speak. This week, there was a big food drive on campus. I know your team was involved in that as well. Talk about that and the importance of all those things right now, because there's going to be plenty of people and families that are in need of different things.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, I was really pleased with just the amount of goods that we got to donate to Rogers Closet, which is at Rogers High School. And, I used to be a high school English teacher. A lot of my friends are teachers. A lot of alumni have gone into education. And one of the things that we hear a lot about what has hurt kids as far as not being able to be in person actually is food. And to me, that really tells me a lot about some of the shortcomings, some of the shortcomings of this country when it comes to that. We shouldn't be talking about kids being hungry when they can't go to school. School is a place to have get an education. And when we hear things about kids not being safe at home and kids not being able to eat if they don't come to school, that's a failing of society, and it's sad to me. So, places like Solve, the athletes that we have in particular, I'm talking about the women's basketball team, but you could talk about any of them. Giving back is a huge thing. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was Liv Pierce, who is a teacher. She's a teacher at Pell. She does fourth grade, and she's right now doing distance learning. So she's doing the virtual part of that. And she hasn't been able to see a lot of her kids, and it's been hard. I mean, she sees them virtually, but it's not the same. And when kids are that age, I think those teachers, they can make a real emotional impact on kids. And I think Liv is one of those teachers. I think a lot of kids, she's their favorite teacher type person. She just a lot of energy, as you know. Anyway, she's leaving work yesterday, and she sees that they're giving out food at the school. They just have all these frozen turkeys, and they have basically like just full meals, and they're giving them to people in Newport. They're loading them into their cars for people that need them. And she said there were about 200 cars waiting for food. And she just jumped in. She said, "You guys need help." And she started loading them in. And she was just saying, I want to do more. I didn't realize how many of my students, because some of these kids her students were in the cars and were yelling, "Hi, Miss Pierce." It just made her so sad. And I think it's a good reminder, and I wanted to bring it up because I think it's a good reminder to all of us that there are a lot of people right now that are hurting because of the pandemic, that have lost jobs, kids that aren't going to school every day and relied on that for meals. And I think we should just do everything we can to try to help them. And that's why I was so happy that Solve did what they did. And people like Liv, she's doing what she's doing. It's just nice. It's a nice reminder. We need to help each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's an example of somebody embracing the challenge. There's so many, there's so many things to unravel that need to be addressed, fixed, worked on. People helping each other, that sort of stuff, lifting each other up. The communication thing, which we've talked about before.
Absolutely.
What would be what's the, not that there is a catch-all to all of it, but what's the number one factor or thing that could be focused on to help kind of broadly address the challenge ahead amidst everything?
Oh,
is it just talking? Is it just saying let's just be honest with each other and talk and listen? Is that kind of the catch-all?
That's part of it. Certainly being able to listen, especially in such a divided place that we live now, unfortunately. And I know that I'm having a harder time listening to people that I disagree with because the things that we hear are so outrageous. It makes it difficult. But I always look at everything through a lens of basketball. I can't help myself. I've touched on this in the past when we've talked, and I know I've touched on it with a lot of my players in the past, and that is, I grew up very poor. I grew up one of 7 children, and I'm somebody that probably wouldn't have gone to college if it wasn't for basketball. But just it wasn't. I wouldn't go to school in a community that education, as far as collegiate education, was that important. A lot of people got out of school and they got jobs right away. So I owe a lot to basketball, but it informed a lot of who I am. So when I think about challenges, I just take a look at myself and I look through that lens of basketball. You've seen me, I'm 5'2", I'm 105 pounds. I think a lot of people are shocked to learn that I got a full scholarship. And I said to my players last night about this challenge that we're facing in general, but specifically basketball wise. The difference between me and them really was my ability to not make excuses and to face challenges, right? Because I had every reason not to achieve what I did. Every reason. I had a billion excuses for not doing what I did, and yet somehow I still did it. And I don't think I'm very remarkable. I really don't. I think I'm very honest about myself. I understand what my weaknesses are, and I'm willing to address them. And I think one of our weaknesses as people typically is that we wait till tomorrow to do things, right? We're going to take care of that tomorrow. And what I was saying to my student athletes yesterday was, you can find reasons not to get ready for your season. You can find reasons not to help other people. You can find reasons not to be happy. You can do all of those things. Or you can find solutions. And I think you have to look for them sometimes. You have to actively look. And my advice to everybody is go do something. And I know we're limited by what we can do, but we can be creative with our solutions. I really believe that. And in the context of becoming a better athlete or becoming a better player, there's lots of ways to get better. They might not be able to get into a gym. They might not be able to touch weights. I don't think I had either one of those things when I played.
Yeah.
I didn't have a weight room and I went outside and played. So they could do that too. And I'm hoping that they will. So meeting challenges is kind of my go-to thing. I think I'm good at that. And I hope that my team is good at it. And I hope the rest of us are too. Because I understand that this time is hard for all of us. But in my mind, the glass is half full. And we have no choice but to meet challenges. What is the other alternative? To do nothing? No, that's not an alternative.
I think you just came up with the catch-all, Corey. I mean, it's that, whether you want to be a great athlete, a great person, it's to not make excuses.
Absolutely.
Don't make excuses. I mean, I think about great athletes. You're right. I mean, there's plenty of people who say didn't have the same amount of talent as other people, but they didn't make an excuse for that. They didn't use that as an excuse, or they didn't use limitations. I think about here's a football analogy.
Sorry, brother. I think I lost you.
Jamarcus Russell coming. I think I'm back.
Yeah, I think you're back.
I think I'm back. Anyway, to make a football analogy, Jamarcus Russell coming out of college was viewed as one of the greatest prospects ever. Look at his arm talent. Look at the things he's did. The guy put in zero work. Admittedly so, and from others. And so he tried to rest on his laurels, and guess what? One of the biggest busts. Tom Brady, 6th-round draft pick, worked his tail off to win a spot in college, to win a spot on our roster, and then when he got his chance, he never let go, and still hasn't let go of that fire in 20 years. So
absolutely,
that's an example. If you want to be great, you don't make excuses. You
it's
rise,
funny.
you face the challenge, like you said.
Yeah, and we talked about that yesterday at the end of practice as well, just about what it takes to be great. And I think if there's one thing, it's being self-aware, understanding what you might not be good at and not accepting that, but at least acknowledging it so you can work on it. And then also understanding what you're good at so that you can embrace it and continue to, get better at it. I just don't think a lot of times we're very honest. And I think if I asked people if they thought I was lazy, there's not a person on this planet that would ever describe me as lazy, except for maybe me. Because I know I am. I just won't let myself, right? I know that if I go home and I sit on the couch, I'm not getting up. I know that about myself. That's what I'm talking about being self-aware. So because I know that about myself, I don't sit down until I'm done doing what I need to do. And then you can't get me off the couch. Yeah. Right. So I think the big thing for my athletes that I'm always preaching to them is to have self-awareness and not shy away from that, not shy away from what you're good at and not shy away from what you need to improve on. And I think that's where greatness lives, So.
We've talked with the producers about this, we're going to create the SeahawkTalk motivational little coffee table book. I think we've got a whole chapter of stuff that we could use from you, Corey. And today we've got no excuses, admitting weaknesses, and accepting the challenge. I think those will be 3 great entries into the SeahawkTalk motivational textbook.
Thank you.
So no show next week, so we won't see you on Friday, but just want to wish you a happy and healthy Thanksgiving and can't wait to talk to you again in 2 weeks.
Thank you. You too.
All right, take it easy now. That's Corey Hughes, the head coach of our women's basketball team. We'll take a very short break and be back with the producers to wrap up this week's show. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, Seahawk fans. While the season is not what we hoped for, athletics is still going strong. Our coaches have adapted to new guidelines and are continuing to foster the growth of our student athletes on and off the field. With all the restrictions due to COVID-19, I can certainly understand what our student athletes are missing out on this year. Competition with teammates, home games with fans, away trips, and the camaraderie of taking a bus hours away, and team meals at Miley after practice. Our athletes are continuing to prepare for competition and are eager for the next full season. We all can't wait to have competition back on campus with our Seahawk fans like you cheering on our student athletes. Supporting our student athletes has a greater impact now more than ever. Please consider making a contribution to a sport of your choice below or Seahawk Athletics. Your support will help ensure that our Seahawk athletes come out of this pandemic stronger, faster, and better than ever.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. Going to bring in the producers now, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, to wrap up this week's programming. Mike's trying to get in. He's almost there. There we go. There's Mike. Fellas, I always like to get your thoughts first on anything our guest had to say here today.
No, Mike, you're muted, Mike.
Mike's on the struggle bus. Joey, this is your chance. Mike doesn't get to go. Go ahead, Joey.
So, I mean, you kind of already said what I would have said to Coach Hughes just about like that whole, like, there's a whole chapter in our little book we've got going. Yeah, especially today, like, don't make excuses. Like, amazing. Like, so, like, it's just like, I keep saying it because it's true. Our coaches are like just full of like wisdom. It's awesome. Like, it's great. Just hearing them like say these kinds of things, are like they and you can tell, like, even like Coach Hughes, she didn't like think, oh, this is gonna be like something really cool to say. She just kind of said that because that's what she thinks, and like it's super inspirational, and I love that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mike, any luck? Can you unmute yourself?
Mike, you're muted on your. Just hit the mute button. refresh. Okay.
Joey, I tasked you, Detective Joey, to see if you could find video of the Chicago. I think it was Chicago Christmas tree.
Cincinnati.
Any luck?
I was gonna say, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. See, this is how Mike feels right now. It's like this tree.
Oh yeah, that's way worse.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So the excuse was, so you know how you like tie the.
There are no excuses,
together?
Joey.
There
we
are
just
no.
learned that.
True. What am I saying? Yeah. Well, they tried to make excuses. They tied the branches together and whatever for transit, and then, like, I guess right here they didn't take the twine off. So like when they raised it up, like it was too heavy and it just tore itself apart. And I think
oh my gosh,
there's like a tweet from the actual, like, someone made an account for the tree or something. I thought, yeah. I
always love when that happens.
I haven't been able to see the arborist.
People who made Mike Pence's fly Twitter accounts. There's always like there's the Rockefeller Christmas tree Twitter account. When I was at school, there was a skunk that was around campus, so somebody had created a Twitter account for the skunk. The internet's a strange place.
It's just doing it the best it can these days. Yeah. See, they fixed it. It looks nice.
Oh wow, that's not the same tree. Is that the same tree?
Yeah.
They super glued branches onto there. They fixed.
Oh,
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is not the same tree. That is artificially been. It's a fake tree now.
Sure, but they fixed it. You know. They
Michael,
didn't let it stop them.
True. That's true. They accepted the challenge of hot gluing branches back to the tree. Michael, any thoughts from our guests or any last notes here today from the show?
Yeah, I'm going to assume, sorry, my screen went a little black. So I'm going to assume you guys talked a lot about Coach Hughes. And she obviously always gives the best advice. But there is something from Molly O'Sullivan that I really wanted to bring up, just about the size of Salve and how that is really just conducive to a better education, especially if you're coming from a small school like myself, from East Greenwich, about 100 people in my graduating class. So I just love to hear that, because that's what Salve does better than most schools, I think, is they really take every single student into account, and they really do. Everyone knows you around here. So freshman year, Malcolm Smith said hi to me by name, and I had honestly never really met him, maybe saw him at the first thing, didn't, but he still knew my name. So just a great campus.
Awesome. Fellas, any last tidbits before we head to the weekend?
I was going to say, it's funny, Mike, you're like, oh yeah, I had 100 students. And it's always weird to me hearing people go to a high school that was smaller than mine. Because mine was the smallest in Connecticut. I had 160. in our graduating class, and so
Yeah.
people are always like,
We-
"Oh, it's smaller."
Mine was smaller. My high school, I graduated with like 92 kids.
Okay,
Oh my
but how
God.
about this? My middle school,
It's probably smaller now. There haven't been a lot of families moving to Narragansett. So like my generation and kind of my generation's like siblings is kind of like the last big group. The student population has been shrinking the last couple of years. It's
Yeah.
something they're
my
trying to change.
my middle school, my 8th grade class was 8 people, and
Wait.
the year they closed, there were 2 6th graders. That's why they were closing. Is 'cause
Really?
no one's going.
Oh my God.
Hey, you guys
You
would
just
still
go-
be open and running amidst COVID. Hey,
Yeah.
you're on that side of the
They would-
classroom. I'm on this side of the classroom. We're good to go.
They had
Teachers
to
in the middle.
They had to combine like classes, like 5th and 6th grade were together, and 7th and 8th because there were so little kids.
Wow.
It's wild. Also, I'll mention, just because I walked over when I went to get water, I forgot I left them over there. We can look at my first 3D printed item, the test print, this rook. Where's the-
Oh, cool.
and if you can see, like, it's got like this like intricate design on the inside. It's got like these stairs, because the way they do it is it's like to, is it gonna focus? No. It's to test like all the different functions on the printer to make sure like the Z levels, right? Like there's, I don't
Yeah.
know if you see little grooves in the wall, like all these different, they
Like
add
when I'm
all-
aligning my printer cartridge, there's that piece of paper that's got like, you gotta align this. So this is like the 3D printer's version. Yeah, we'll print you
Yeah.
chess pieces.
It's proving, it's like, is it, if all the parts come out correctly, it's like, okay, so this, and then that's how you know what's wrong. So like if I go, oh, this center piece, this like little in between, I don't know if you can see it, like there's
Yeah.
this little thing going down the middle. They're like, if that's what's messed up, you can look that up specifically and go, that's the part that went wrong, and then they will be able to tell you what's wrong on the printer, which is super neat.
Can you 3D print me a new phone? My screen cracked today.
No, I can't do. Oh God, I cracked my screen the other day. It's only in like the top corner, but and it's too bright. But
yeah,
very fortunately, I like full through it. Like I did that thing. I'm sure we've all done this, where like you go to take it out of your pocket.
Oh, and you just fling it across the room for no reason.
And it was in front of Rogers, which was the problem. So it landed on the.
Oh, when it's
pavers.
in public, it's even worse too, because people are like, "What's wrong with that person?"
It didn't land on the asphalt, but it landed on the pavers right in front of Rogers, like right next to one of those poles. If it had hit one of those bollards, I think it would have been wrecked. But yeah, I just like picked it up, and then like I just like fumbled it and just threw it. And I picked it up and was like, oh, cool, it's fine. And then later I looked and it like cracked. Like it must have like barely chipped, and then later it cracked.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty mad. I've never cracked a phone before. I'm mad.
First time for everything.
Yeah.
Fellas, great work this week. We can now head into the weekend, and we'll talk to you again on Monday.
Yes,
We'll
have a
talk
good
to you then.
weekend. Yes.
That's Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. I want to thank our guests once again today. We had Clay Brochu, Zach Klon, Molly O'Sullivan, and Corrine Hughes, our Friday Winter Sports lineup. If you want to go back and rewatch any episode of Seahawk Talk, you can like, follow, and subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. Through Twitter, we are live every single day at 3 to 4 p.m., and you can go back and watch every episode of the show on those platforms, or subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast through Sounder FM or your favorite podcasting app. Until then, I am Andrew Pizzelli. Have a happy and safe weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you again on Monday.